I wish there was a solution for documenting big decisions that were made over the phone or in conversations. And I can go back to one particular moment where it broke the camel's back for me. I was working with a flat roofer to win a contract. We won it. They went back and forth with how much insulation, how many inches insulation they wanted on their flat roof. They committed to 6 inches. We put in those 6 inches, but after we did the 6 inches, they wanted another 2 inches. I didn't document it from that phone call. It wasn't documented. The rest of the roof was put on. They did a test, and we had to rip it off and redo it. And that was a couple $100,000.
Welcome to the Builder Straight Talk podcast with your host, Michael Creasa. Get the unfiltered truth from the trenches of construction, real estate, and funding. This episode is made possible by our parent company, Sound Capital. Funding built for builders.
Hey there, my friend, Michael Creasa here, and I want to run something by you and humor me for a second. And tell me if this sounds like you. You're on the job site or in your truck, phone's ringing off the hook. I mean, that's typical. All day long, phone's ringing. And it's, it could be subcontractors that are talking to you about delays, inspectors that want to change dates, banks needing more documentation, clients that want to change a wall, change orders. We all love those. And at any given moment, it's chaos. Like you're juggling chaos. And if you don't have a pen and paper to write it down, maybe you got a pen. Well, you've only got so much forearm that you can jot notes down on. Well, this is where Hardline comes in. And there's a gal by the name of Carly Heffernan, fabulous individual. And she's a co-founder of a company called Hardline. And they have an AI. And before you say, Michael, no, not another AI, hear me out on this one. Carly actually has a pedigree in construction. Her family had a construction business, and she grew up swinging a hammer, putting down shingles, and all that wonderful stuff. And as a matter of fact, the genesis of this idea for this AI came from a mistake that she almost made on the site that could have potentially cost 6 figures. And it was as simple as misrepresenting something on the phone that she thought he said, she said, the scenario here. So she came up with this AI. It's supposed to be a game changer. We're going to unpack that and so much more. Now, I mentioned she's got a pedigree in building, but she also played on Team Canada's hockey team. So taking that discipline and the experience from the job site is what, I guess, marrying the two together is what formed this company that she co-founded, which is called Hardline. So without further ado, let's take a look in there. But one more thing, before I forget, I need your help. To get our podcast out to the world so more people can see it, I need you to subscribe, like, and share. Pretty please, little flick of a mouse, subscribe, like, and share. That will help get through the algorithms so the world will see us and more people can take advantage of the content that we share advertisement free. That's the other part. No advertisements, no commercials, nada. Just good quality content with individuals that I think you can glean from. So again, I'll use that line again without further ado. Let's take a look at what Carly Heffernan has to say about this AI that she's bringing to the marketplace. Carly, welcome to today's call. I appreciate taking time out to be here today. We're talking about something that every builder should be talking about, which is AI. And I think we're at that point in construction, well, in life in general, that AI is something that can't be ignored. So either get on the bus and learn how to steer or get under the bus and suffer the consequences. Is that a good metaphor to use, I think?
I think it's perfect. Definitely in construction, it's the last to see it be adopted. So you better get on the train right now.
So before we jump into the AI thing, let's wind the clock back to once upon a time. You're an Olympic athlete, which is really friggin' cool. How does an Olympic athlete work their way into construction of all different places?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I was with the national team on off-cycle years, so I wasn't on the Olympic team, but I was with the team every other year before the Olympics. So being a national athlete with the Team Canada and transitioning into a founder has been, I think, very helpful, taking a lot of the things that I learned being driven as an individual, but also on a team sport. Yeah, it's been a good thing that I had that past for sure.
I guess part of that, so it means that you're amiable to being coached, right? But then at the skill level that you're playing at, you're dedicated, you're focused. And being a founder of a company, it means that you're also going to be a badass because you got to drive this thing forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the thing that really started to catch fire with me with this company was when I was playing ice hockey, there was nothing that was stopping me from going to play in the Olympics or for the national team. And I hadn't had that until I started this company. I hadn't had that same like excitement to wake up at 5 a.m. to get on the ice or to get into the office. So it's a newfound feeling, and I really, really am enjoying it.
So we should talk about what is the company? Like, what's the name of the company? And give us kind of the backstory of what it is.
So I'm one of the co-founders here at Hardline. We're a voice AI platform built for field workers. And essentially what we're doing is we're allowing them to continue to work how they always have, which is through phone calls, through conversations. That's how the jobs always ran. And we're focused on being able to harness the data that's never been captured through phone calls and on-site walkthroughs. So what is that? That's a voice-powered phone system for companies and an AI integration with it. We don't like to talk about how much AI is involved because there really isn't a lot. It's more so taking conversations, giving it context in the construction world, and then putting it where it needs to be.
If you're building a mousetrap, that means you've got mice. If you're building this AI solution, it's solving a problem. So what's the problem that you're hoping your AI is going to solve?
Adoption with technology in the field is arguably been the hardest thing with a lot of construction tech solutions out there. And we're solving that by having a technology or a software that doesn't require behavior change and capturing the data that's never been captured before, which is phone calls. People are able to work like they've always worked, take a phone call. They don't even need to do anything after that. If they forget something, they can look at their tasks after it, and just really being able to allow these superintendents and site workers to do what they always want to do is build.
So let me rephrase that in a different way. What is the problem that you've identified first, right? So
Mhm.
again, using the mousetrap analogy, I'm surrounded by these things that are biting me, and well, not in the ass. I guess they'd be nibbling on my ankle. So I had to come up with a solution to make these buggers go away. What was the pain point that you identified? And then how are you trying to solve that pain point?
Real experience from myself was taking 30 phone calls from subcontractors and clients and not being able to track everything that was talked about. And it caused disputes, rework, and a lot of, damage to our bottom line. So we're focused on that overbearing amount of information sharing.
So the part that we should have put in there, we made a segue from being on ice to in the boardroom. We left out that piece, the transition piece was that you were in construction.
Mm-hmm.
So let's put a spotlight on that a bit. Tell us about your job experience and what you were doing, because that'll tie in nicely to this. What was the problem that you saw? Because you're in the fields, so now you've got a firsthand experience of what the problem is.
Yeah, so after college, I did my 4 years at Harvard and then went into property tech out here in LA, but immediately knew construction was where I wanted to be at some capacity. I grew up in the world with my family, owning a GC. And so after that, I was asked to help build out a commercial division of a residential builders firm. And I started from ground zero. They didn't have any business development. They didn't have project managers. And I was able to help build that out. And through that experience, I was working the same way my dad was working 15 years ago, raising my brother and I taking 30 calls in the vehicle. And that was kind of an eye opener with my co-founder, seeing that I was doing the same thing 15 years later.
Help me understand this like I'm 6 years old here, Carly. You were like this, hockey star. You're on the ice. Now you're in the boardroom, but there's that transitory phase where you're actually working with your father and your brother because they were in construction. So take me to that point, because that will help identify how you identified what the problem is in the construction industry, because you were in it, you were doing it. So tell us about those days.
Well, growing up, I never had a babysitter. My dad drove my brother and I everywhere after school, job site to job site. So that was kind of my life growing up. But throughout high school and then college in the summers, I would work with my family's general contracting company, oftentimes on site, and then eventually into project managing. I circled back after being at a tech company after college into construction because I love it so much. And that's when I really started to get the experience of what are these workflows and how are they inefficient and what's going on, because it just felt so like so many issues that were constantly coming up. And so as a project manager, I really came back to this idea of having to be on the phone, asking for updates constantly. And I looked at every solution I could, Procore, Buildertrend, all these. They're amazing solutions, but the data, it wasn't being inputted. And so I looked at the highest part of where information was being shared, and that's through phone calls. So that's the origin of where I came up with the idea of Hardline with my co-founder.
Okay. Now, you did a stint in university. You forgot to mention that you went to Harvard.
Oh, yeah. Yes, yes. I did my years there, yeah.
Yeah, because I figure once you've gone to Harvard, you're trained that in every conversation, you're supposed to drop the fact that, yes, after my 4 years in Harvard, here's what I did next.
Yeah. You are trained to do that. That's part of graduating.
Yeah, keeping up the brand.
Yeah. I was lucky enough to play for the Harvard college team there as well for the ice hockey. And I really enjoyed my time in Boston. That is one of the best cities, I believe, in the world.
Do you miss it? Like what you're doing now versus playing hockey? Like if a magic wand were waved and you could have been on the Olympic team and then nationals, would that have been a different career path altogether?
Yeah, I get asked that from my co-founder who is so curious about that world of professional sports. And I actually don't think I would have changed it because I think up until recently, a career in women's ice hockey hasn't been able to be fully, a career. And now I'm able to do something I love and lead something. But yeah, I mean, I miss it all the time. I miss being on the ice with my friends, and those moments were so special.
Yeah, I guess the big difference, you're always one puck or one check away from retirement.
Yeah, yeah. And honestly, I think that's a big thing with building a company. You're always like wanting to go where the puck's going to be, not where it is. And so we use that analogy in our company today. Being a few steps ahead is the way to win in this industry, I think.
I'm thinking big Gretzky fan right there. Be where the puck is.
Oh yeah. Huge Gretzky fan.
Wow. I'm still going to push back because you haven't given me an answer that's good enough yet. Is what was the problem that you solved? Now, take me back to you're on the roof, you're handling
Hmm.
calls for your father's it was your dad's company or
Yeah.
family company? Okay.
Yeah.
What's the problem that you identified? So obviously it was affecting you first. Walk me through, I wish there was a solution for fill in the blank.
I wish there was a solution for documenting big decisions that were made over the phone or in conversations. And I can go back to one particular moment where it broke the camel's back for me. I was working with a flat roofer to win a contract. We won it. They went back and forth with how much insulation, how many inches insulation they wanted on their flat roof. And they committed to 6 inches. And we put in those 6 inches, but after we did the 6 inches, they wanted another 2 inches. I didn't document it from that phone call. It wasn't documented. The rest of the roof was put on. They did a test and we had to rip it off and redo it. And that was a couple $100,000. So I think it's really the dispute, the he said, she said that comes from these calls and the data sharing that just kills companies' margins.
That's the part that I want to hear. So then typically you would have followed up in an email to
Yep.
break down what the conversation was before you moved forward.
Yep. Or a
But
hard sync. Yeah.
okay, so what is it that your solution then is doing to mitigate that problem from happening again?
Yeah, so with Hardline, that call happens. It's documented. Only the construction specific items are taken from the call. So we don't keep recordings or things about how much you maybe dislike a client. It would have been recorded as 2 inches to the Peterson project. And that would have never happened because I would have looked back and saw, oh, today we talked about this. I got to call the supplier.
Do you have access to the actual call that took place or it's abandoned after the transcript is done?
That's something we we don't hold the audios because we know that we don't want to be a big brother to these superintendents or project managers. We just want them to have the ability to take calls and then look back at the end of the day. And so we only keep the summary.
Okay. So let's put this back into the context of what happened to you. It's gone from 6 inches to 8. There's the
Yeah.
dispute. He said,
Yeah.
she said. So if you had had your solution then, it would have.
It would have alerted me that I need to call the supplier, add 2 inches of insulation, and hard sync with that roofer, the client. So I think that really it's the ability to have the reminders at the end of the day and also have a hard sync with the other person. This is what we talked about. If I'm wrong, tell me right now.
So then, correct me if I'm wrong here and talk to me like I'm sick. So then, what the app does, it listens to the call, basically transcribes the salient points from the call, and then
Yeah.
what's it do next?
Yeah, so you're given a summary, the summary from the call and your tasks. If there's items that you need to do from that phone call. And after, you're able to share it any way you want. You can share it through WhatsApp, text message, email, any way. Or you can also sync it to your project management system and link it to a project. So really, it's the ability to share this information with a click of a button and not have to, remember everything or write it down.
So, how does the AI know what's important versus, okay, we're talking about the roof, insulation is made. Oh, by the way, on the way home, can you pick up some dry cleaning for me and milk? Oh, and I forgot to say that the foundations on the Swanson house that we're doing needs to
Mhm.
be fixed. So, how does it know what's relevant versus fluff?
Yeah, like to not get too technical, we use a fine tuned LLM, which is a fine tuned model for AI, and we feed it with construction specific words, items, and we prompt it to be very construction focused. We say, hey, you're a project manager or you're in the construction industry. Being in the industry for so many years with my family's company, we have so much data that they're willing to share and we can build on top of that so that we have the highest, accuracy.
Is it learning as it's doing this?
Yeah. Yeah. It's learning. It's very much so to the individual. So it learns you, it learns your company, and it gets smarter for what your specific trade is, maybe, or what kind of context it needs for your conversations.
So the caveat, and again, in Michael's world, I'm trying to think about how I would be using this. I'm having I'm having a conversation with you, and we're
Hmm.
talking about I'm going to hire you. Here are the details, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to spit back that transcript that I'm going to see in live time. So I guess to be prudent and as a fail safe, I should be reviewing that right away to make sure nothing was missed in the call. What if something was missed? What do you do then? You write it down on paper, or what happens then?
Yeah. If there was something missed after that call, you're able to edit and add in to dos. Our AI is incredibly accurate. So the chance of it missing something very necessary is low, but there's always, the world where it does miss something.
But then it learns afterwards, and hopefully that doesn't
Yeah.
repeat itself. I was impressed because when you and I were having our first call way back, I didn't realize you were doing this, and you said, "Oh, yeah, here's a magic trick." You pulled the rabbit out of the hat and sent it to me,
Yeah.
and it's, "Oh, all right, here's the salient points of our discussion." But the
Yeah.
cool part was on the next screen were a list of to-dos.
Yeah.
And I thought,
Yeah.
"Wow, that's pretty funky," because it makes everyone accountable for what needs to happen next. So,
Yeah.
the next part to what needs to happen next, is there any kind of follow-up to remind you to do the things that need to be done, did it, what needs to be
Did
done
done.
next? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So what we are building out right now is you commit to something on Friday, say you're going to meet for a site walkthrough, we'll alert you or add it to your calendar. Those things are also going to be learning your patterns as well. If you choose for it to, then it knows you typically have a call every day with Mike, your superintendent. You should probably call him. Gives you personal insights.
Again, I'm trying to grasp this. Whenever I pick up my phone, is the AI working, or do I have to select for it to know which conversation I want it to be working with or transcribing? Does that make sense? So I'm having a
Yeah.
conversation with you because
Yeah.
we're talking about what we're doing for dinner
Mhm.
versus a contractor in terms of what he's bringing to my site?
With our app, it's very simple and intuitive to learn. You download it, and you have the ability to give it permission to intercept your personal phone calls on your phone, your native phone. So you don't need a new phone number if you choose to use this app, but you also have the option to have a new number. So after that, you toggle it on. You have the ability to also, if you pick up a call from your mom or somebody important in your personal life, you can tap a button mid call to turn the A off and it discards the AI and you just continue having the conversation.
So is that happening when I'm picking up the phone? I've got the option to do it,
Yeah.
or after the fact?
You can turn it off mid call if you're like, "Ooh, this is too, sensitive of information. I don't want this being like summarized. It's a personal call." You can turn it off mid call.
Okay, got it. So in terms of technology, again, I'm looking at the average guy that's working on the site. Is this going to be one more barrier of resistance because it's something new that they have to learn? Because most builders want to focus on the build. And if
Yeah.
their trades are involved, the trades just want to focus on doing what they're told to do. Is there a learning curve that's going to be involved with this?
The beauty of this is that was the priority from day one, was making sure it's so intuitive and feels like the phone app in your iPhone or on your Android. You open the app and you could think that you're in the phone app. So really the learning curve is maybe at the end of the day you check out your to-dos, you share a summary if you want to or need to, but it really just is for you to be able to track what's going on in your day to day and be focused and in the present. Because really, the amount of time taken to input data and do tedious tasks takes you away from making sure your crews are safe and the projects are moving along. So we're really just trying to take out that pain of input.
So how do let's go through a busy day as a developer, let's say, and let's say on average, I'm just going to throw a number out there. I've got 10 important calls today, right? So I'm doing my calls, right? The AI is in the background. It's taking notes, giving me to-dos. Is there a repository? Is there a file where all of those are stored? Because I'm not going to constantly keep looking on my phone to check the conversations and what needs to be done next. Because maybe when I'm breaking for lunch or at the end of the day, I want to review the conversations that I had. So do I have to capture them then in live time, or can I take my time after the fact, and then where would they be?
We absolutely have a repository. A lot of our users find themselves using it at the end of the day and they realize, oh my gosh, I wanted to remember what I had to do with this subcontractor. But you can go in at the end of your day, look at all your to dos are bundled together. We're building in the daily log right now or daily report to yourself. Like these are the key things that you had going on in your calls or your site walkthroughs that you should keep in mind for tomorrow.
So does the AI automatically identify who I'm having that call with and the phone number?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. And
yeah,
then at the end of the day, as you said, when I'm reviewing it, I can see, okay, I had this call with Carly. This is what we talked about. Here's the call I had with Bob. So each one would be, I'm guessing, kind of like a headline and then subtext underneath.
yep, yep, exactly.
Okay. And that's stored on my phone within the app, or is it on my computer as well?
It's in the app, but you can choose to export it to whatever way you want. You can export it to an email to yourself or to your boss or to your notes app. Builder
Okay.
Trend, we're looking at an integration with them.
So we should say that this isn't well, I don't want to say production. It's not available yet. You've got the launch coming up. When's that going to be?
So we are in with design partners right now. We're working with Suffolk Construction, some home builders in Utah, and it's officially going to be launched Q1 of next year, so January. And we have about 60 beta users right now.
Are you looking for more test pilots to help you basically take it for a spin?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a kind of a rolling basis thing. Our engineers are shipping every day and they are making it better based on the user feedback. We don't care what we want. We care what feedback from users want. And so we're always looking for new people to test it in different sectors.
So is it in the App Store now, or how do they get it?
Yeah, it's in the App Store now. They will just need to receive a code from me personally or one of my co-founders, and then they can be a test user with us.
Okay, so they're a test user, they're giving critical feedback, the company's launched, it's a big success. Are you then going back to the users and charging them, or what happens then?
There eventually is going to be a point where we have to bring in some revenue for sure. But with test users, we're definitely giving them a free month or two, depending on how they are looking at it long term. We'll talk about pricing after that.
Okay, it's not fair to press you, but I will because it's the kind of guy that I am, and you're tough. You can take it.
Oh yeah.
Have you got have you got a price point in mind yet? Will it be a one-time yearly pay? Is it a monthly fee? How is that going to be structured?
Yeah, we were doing monthly per user per seat. And the reason why we're looking at that is because construction companies sometimes in Canada are ebbs and flows with how many users are on their platforms. And so maybe winter months you don't need as many users. We want it to be flexible. So we're priced at for integrations, your full phone system with Hardline is 129 per month per user. And that's because we look at this as replacing the need for hardware as a phone for your companies. Yeah, that's what we're looking at. And then if you're just a one-off user and you just want to use this for yourself and you're running a small crew, it's $49 a month per user, just no integrations.
Okay, so let's say I'm the project manager. I've got 10 people working under me. Each one of them will have the app. Each one of them is paying to use it. That's how it
Yeah,
works? Okay. Are you looking at maybe bundling it and creating like an enterprise solution?
definitely, definitely. Yeah, that's
Okay.
definitely something we're working with Suffolk, one of our partners right now in building the enterprise case because this is gonna be more so the phone system for these construction companies in that context.
So walk me through the ideal scenario of who you're looking for and how it's used.
Yeah, so we right now we're testing with a whole diverse group of design partners. We have a roofing company, a high volume custom home builder in Utah, and smaller to mid-sized GCs doing maybe 100 million in revenue a year. And really, we are focused on this market of smaller to medium size because they're so underserved with technology. They don't have the means or need for Procore per se. And so our ICP or ideal user is a home builder doing maybe 50 million to 100 million of revenue a year, sometimes less, and or a general contractor. For us, we've had some really good feedback from the home builder space because it's just such a quick moving project typically. So many different trades are in and out, which is oftentimes where delays and mistakes happen a lot.
Do you think the biggest barrier would be for them to slow down long enough to actually take a call, listen to what you're doing? And I don't want to say sell them on the concept, but you have to identify what that need is. Like I was saying, I've got mice nibbling at my ankles. You
Yeah.
have to get them to identify the fact that, yeah, we're dropping calls, we're losing money at the essence of the end of the day. So have you got like your sales pitch and all your marketing ready to go?
Yeah, we really look at this as like relationships though. When we're talking to all these clients, sometimes they come back after talking to them in May of last year, just getting, initial discovery calls and they're ready 5 months later because they saw us in an article or something. And we just want to build a community around trust. And so it's not a salesy thing for in terms of we get on a call and we show a pitch deck or we're trying to nail them into a long-term contract. It's one of those things of educating and then down the line they'll come around.
Well, just to give it context that this isn't just like an idea, you were at the Boost Accelerator experience.
Mhm.
Tell
Mhm.
us about that because I think this really legitimizes what you're trying to do.
Definitely. Yeah, that the Suffolk Boost program for anyone who doesn't know or is familiar is the number one built world accelerators. And they take 6 to 8 companies per year in this accelerator program. And typically that's like a 2% acceptance rate. And they have us in this 8-week program, introduce us to tons of their operating partners in builders, technology partners, whoever we kind of request to be introduced to and get us in front of those users and pilot with them. Is a massive construction company. They're doing upwards to 7 billion a year. And they've just been incredible in this process. We're having so much fun. We're about midway through right now.
Let's underline that again, $7 billion a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not bad. So, what's to say they're not just going to cut you a big juicy check and say, "On your way, young lady, we want the company."
It's so funny. My co-founder and I, Elena, we love what we're doing so much right now that I don't think that there's a number at this point. We haven't even launched to have us just, go right off into the sunset. I can't, yeah, I don't think that's an option for us. We're just enjoying it so much.
What you've got so far, like, let's say bells and whistles, you know what it does, what it's capable of. Let's wave the wand. Where do you think it's going to be evolving to, or where do you want to take it, let's say a year, 2 years from now?
We want to be the voice operating system where any person on a job site doesn't know how to use a laptop in terms of construction. We want them to talk to their phone, give updates, however it may be, and it automatically populates to the right systems, the right people, and really just give them so much time back and pain to just continue to work on the job site. So really we're building a voice orchestration platform is what we call it.
That's a question I didn't even think about asking. So laptops are so, how do I say irrelevant, but they're hazards waiting to happen, right? You've got an expensive laptop, someone's going to drop coffee or a brick. That's out of
Yeah.
the equation. The phone you have, it's usually in some kind of dinosaur,
Otterbox.
yeah, so it's not going to get hurt. But the one thing that you mentioned in terms of communicating with my team is what I have on my phone. How do I send that out to everybody? Is that built into the platform or is that something that I'm doing after the fact?
Yeah, it's built into the platform. If you're on the business account and you are one of 10 teammates involved in Hardline and have a license, you can easily sync whatever you need with the team. We're working on what level of information that is. Typically it's auto knowing who your tasks are assigned to, but it really comes down to we just don't want them to push more buttons or learn more than they need to know. They're so tired. And I have so much empathy and sympathy for these people on job sites trying to juggle while also dealing with the mental health crisis that's happening with these people as well.
Well, the amount of stress is like,
Yeah.
I got to applaud the fact that it's a very elegant solution in that I don't have to learn something else. Intuitively, I can be holding my phone and drinking a coffee at the same time.
Yeah.
So, in terms of the learning curve, it literally, there hardly is any. If you can check your text message, you've basically mastered the art of using your app. So,
Exactly.
kudos to you on that. If you could wave a magic wand, who is the one big somebody out there in the arena right now that you're saying, "Hey, look at me, look at me." Who would that be?
Oh, that's a really good question. In terms of a user or somebody we admire
Open
from the
space, you
past.
go with it.
I would say we have a lot of admiration for Tracy Young, who built PlanGrid. Her story is incredible, how she built this company to exit for $500 million, I believe. She's just somebody who we really admire as a female founder in this space. It's a very, unique thing to be young, building something, and female in the construction world. It's becoming more common, but yeah, I think that's someone we admire a lot.
Have you tried connecting with her?
I believe we're both connected on LinkedIn, but she's famous for sure. You can tell her engagement's quite high, so we would love to meet her at some point.
So you gotta get on the radar. Maybe that's something we can tackle together. I love a good
Yeah.
challenge when it comes to
Yes,
tracking people down.
definitely.
What about within the construction space itself? Is there a company that you think if they saw you, it'd be, "Oh my gosh, we gotta grab this kid quick."
Yeah, I think number one was Suffolk for sure. But following that, I think PCL in Canada, they're obviously, they just got, I think, recognized as the safest company in Canada. They're enterprise, but I think they're doing a lot of really cool things. And they built the arena in Edmonton. So I just love their work in general. And the ice rink in Canada or in Edmonton is just incredible. They did such a good job.
You figure that'd be a no-brainer. You could, play the Olympic card and try to make a connection there somehow.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe I'll try to, slide in with the hockey lingo and then see.
Oh, wow. Anything that I've missed, Carly? Anything that you want to touch on? Or you think we covered all the food groups?
I think we've really covered it. I think the biggest thing is we really want people to know that this is a solution for smaller to mid-sized companies, and we're here to service those people because there's very few solutions out there that are tackling simple software that's affordable and adoptable for that specific client. And I think they're the ones that are feeling the pain of the stress and the pressure the most. So yeah, I think that's the biggest thing that when we talk to people, that's the biggest takeaway we want. We want them to just know it's being built for them and not the biggest company in the world.
Okay, let's put this in a perspective that you would understand. You got the puck, it's a breakaway, you're charging down on the ice. What's the big score for you right now?
Big score is definitely having people talking about it and starting to think about how can they adopt technology that is easy for their site workers, doesn't take another 2 hours of their week to learn, or maybe it takes a week to learn. We want something that's super simple. So really just getting the conversation going. And if anyone out there is interested in learning more about Hardline, we are open books. We'll answer text messages. We're all in as founders wanting to talk to people and get feedback. So I think that's the biggest.
I think you got something, Carl. I'm going to end it up with she shoots, she scores.
That's great. Thank you so much for having me. I had a blast.
Thanks for listening to Builder Straight Talk. Make sure to like, comment, and share this episode on your favorite social media platform. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, available wherever you get your podcast streaming fix. Until next time, keep building smarter. This episode is made possible by our parent company, Sound Capital, funding built for builders.